Hello, everyone. Welcome to Impact Social, where we get social with ImpactHub Houston members, get to learn more about them, get to know them a little better, and see how they're making an impact in our community as well as globally, and how we as a community can support them. I'm Ann Wynn, your host for Impact Social. I'm also an Impact Hub Houston member and part of the marketing team. And today I'm really excited to have Simmy Hundal on. Simmy and I have become friends through Impact Hub Houston and some other programs, and I'm so thrilled to be able to feature all the cool things that he is doing. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Simmy on. Hi, Simmy.
And so good to see you, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you and wanted to say hello to everyone who is tuning in. If you are joining us, please feel free to drop a comment and let us know that you're here. Say hello, where you're from. And as we're going along in our conversations, if you have any questions for Simmy, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. And so I'd love to ask you to introduce yourself briefly to the community.
For sure. Thanks, Ann. My name is Simmy Hundal. I am in Houston, as you said. I'm originally from Atlanta, moved here a couple of years ago. I'm working on a few projects, the first and foremost of which is Mycorrhiza Partners. It's a business that I just started earlier this year. And the flagship program is a podcast called The March for Unity, Civility, and Political Engagement. It's a nonpartisan political podcast in which we bring diverse leaders together to tackle issues of the day through listening, learning, and sympathizing. More generally speaking, the LLC or the business is aimed to solve society's and organizations' most pressing challenges with an eye towards purpose beyond just profit. Beyond that, I am the founder of Fenix Risk Management as well, which is a risk management and insurance financial services provider based out of Atlanta, but we do business in 11 states around the Southeast and beyond.
So that's one of the things I love about you, right? You're like in this insurance business, but you have this other side where you have these passions that you are working on and helping to make an impact in the world. So I love it. So I know you just mentioned your March for Unity and Civility. So how can we find out more information about it? I pulled up the URL here on the screen. So if you guys would, would like to learn more, definitely check it out there. And I'll drop the link in the comments as well so that it's a live link. So I know you started as a podcast and with a goal to really help share those diverse viewpoints and help us understand each other better with civil discourse, right? And so how's that going?
Yeah, it's been a journey for me. Definitely a learning experience. I'm coming into the conversation from a humble perspective. I don't have the answers. That's why I'm having this conversation. But I do feel, I hypothesize that having productive conversations with people from diverse backgrounds in which they share the challenges that they face, they share their life experiences, will help build a sympathy for people from a completely different background in order to tackle some of society's, some of America's and local communities' most pressing challenges, build better bridges so that instead of us rowing in different directions and just trying to gain power over a local community, an organization, whatever the entity might be, instead of just trying to grab power, actually trying to build a strong community, a strong bridge in which we all feel like we're a part of the organization or entity or person that is leading us at the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that's missing quite a bit in today's society, where we're not really able to have a civil conversation or discourse with each other because it becomes like this side and this side, and it's just two ends of the spectrum at odds with each other. And I really appreciate and love your work towards this, where you recognize that everyone can have differing opinions, right? But we can only come to maybe not a consensus, but agreement to disagree if we continue to have those conversations with each other and to bridge those connections. Because I was just thinking about examples, right? We can't truly help a situation or an issue unless we can kind of humanize it too.
100%. 100%. I feel like there has been, along the lines that you're saying, instead of us trying to engage in some of those tough conversations and try to understand the perspective, it's more of this cancel culture, or more of putting up barriers in order to just focus on what's important. And while I do appreciate a lot of the sentiment and I sympathize with a lot of the reasoning behind why someone might put up a barrier and why there's pain or hurt in a specific area of their life, or their perspective, um, based off of my lived experiences, I don't see us constructively and efficiently moving forward if we have those barriers, as opposed to having a productive conversation. And so this is me trying to make a dent in divisiveness. And I've been really encouraged by the support that I've gotten from different communities, the involvement from really cool, diverse leaders. Don't come to listen to me on the program, but there's some really cool people that I've been able to get onto the show, including the program that I just produced yesterday, in which we got a law professor from the University of Houston. His name is Professor Victor Flat, excuse me, as well as the Young Committee Project Manager of the ONS conference based out of Norway. Definitely had to jump a few time zones, in which she came on and shared her perspective on the energy transition and climate action more generally speaking. So some really cool people we've gotten onto the program.
It sounds like it. And I'm going to pause for a second to share some comments with you. Your sister, Sonia, is on saying she's very proud of you. And then Michelle mentioned that admitting that we don't have all the answers, but that we're willing to have difficult conversations is very much needed in our society. And I think the work you are doing is working towards that.
100%.
So, and again, thanks for everyone tuning in. Please feel free to drop your comments or any questions for Simmy as we're chatting along here. Now, you mentioned you were excited about your most recent episode. So where can people find your podcast, or your, for right now, it's an audio podcast, if I'm not mistaken, right? But you have a video component to it too.
There is a video component if you prefer YouTube. We certainly have a YouTube channel.
Awesome.
And I can drop that in the chat in just a moment. Yeah. In terms of podcasts, I would love to say we're on all the podcast networks, but the main ones that we're on are Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So,
okay, I think you've hit the three major ones, right?
That's what I like to think. I have heard, after I've brought up the conversation of me having a podcast, definitely hearing some obscure, at least in my experience, obscure podcast providers. But I feel like I got the top three.
Yeah, yes, and definitely, I think from a marketing standpoint, I think you got the top three. And so is this a regularly, I guess, scheduled program, like people can find it the third week of the month, or is it something that they should probably sign up for some updates from you to be notified when your next episode would be?
Sure. Before we had it so that it was a regularly occurring monthly program. However, I found that the demands of having a live stream regular program were outweighing the benefits of doing that at a regular time. Instead, I wanted to be as flexible as possible to get on board, to have participation from some really interesting speakers. So instead, I've created a roughly monthly program, but it is not produced at a set day or time each month. Instead, I recommend subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you like to listen to your content, in order to see when the roughly monthly podcast is produced.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of podcasts, and even with video interviews, especially having it on YouTube, right? It remains there so you can listen to it at your discretion. And oftentimes I don't find myself listening to the podcast, right away either, right? I wait till the episodes come out, and I kind of like when you binge watch something on Netflix. I binge all the podcast episodes.
For sure. You are welcome to do that. And we've got, like I said, especially over the past couple months when we've changed the format, I've been I've been pretty excited to speak with some really interesting speakers. Before this most recent podcast, I got an opportunity to speak about gun safety in America, which has been on a lot of Americans as well as Texans' minds, as we've had an unfortunate mass shooting at Uvalde just a couple months ago. And I spoke with one of the local leaders of Moms Demand Action, a locally rooted organization, but it has chapters across the U.S., the equivalent of Moms Against Drunk Driving, but for gun action and common sense gun law reform.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you definitely have a variety of guests and across a variety of political and social issues. And so we highly encourage everyone to go subscribe or check out the past episodes on YouTube or on Spotify, Google Play, or Apple, your favorite podcast platform, right? So anything else you'd like to share with us about, now pronounce it for me because I know I'm going to say it wrong, Mycorrhiza, right? Is that Mycorrhiza Partners?
I might be mispronouncing it, but it sounds good to me. Mycorrhiza Partners.
Hey, it's your thing, right? It's your LLC. You can pronounce it however you want.
I appreciate the support. Yes. So that is our flagship program, is the podcast. But more generally speaking, we're a consulting services company that is tying purpose and profit together for a variety of organizations as they tackle their most pressing challenges.
I love it. I love it. So again, folks, the March for Unity, Civility, and Political Engagement podcast is their flagship program. And I think you mentioned you're looking for some help for collaborators and SMEs and project managers for Mycorrhiza or for your program, or both?
More so for both, but more generally speaking, yeah, the first thing that you mentioned, collaborators, is something that I could really use some help with. If you feel passionate about some of the challenges that society faces, if you feel passionate about tying purpose and profit together, and you're working in your own space on those challenges, I would love to collaborate with you. I would love to see how we can tackle some of these challenges together, as well as working with organizations that want to make impact. So if there is an organization which some of the things that I'm saying resonates with you, I would love to collaborate with you and see what you're going through, the work that you're doing, and see if there's some synergy.
Awesome. I dropped Simmy's LinkedIn profile, the URL for his LinkedIn profile. That's probably the best place to connect with you, or how else should collaborators and other folks connect with you, Simmy?
Yeah, LinkedIn is great. I'll also drop my email in the inbox here. It's simply simmyhundal@gmail.com.
Awesome.
It's an easy way to reach me.
Right. And then you mentioned as subject matter experts, I guess for folks to, come on and have the discussions with you on your podcast, on your program. Are there any particular ones that you are seeking at the moment?
Sure. One of the topics that is top of mind for me is the relationship between US and China. The tensions have been racketing up for a long time now, and the relationship between these two countries, I think, is going to be one of the most important international relationships of this century. There is, I think, a lot of perspective that is missed in the conversation, given that a lot of us live in the West. And I would love to have the perspective of someone that sees the perspective of China and sees the perspective of Asia with a little bit more sympathy than what we typically hear. So I would love to have a diverse group of subject matter experts, historians, politicians that are interested in speaking about this topic, sharing why they feel passionately about the topic, and why they have the viewpoints that they have. So if you're interested, or you know someone that is interested in having that conversation, I would love to chat and see if there's a way that we can hear your perspective on the program.
No, absolutely. And hopefully we'll be able to help you find those folks to have that conversation, because I agree with you. That is definitely one conversation I would be very interested in tuning into, just because it is a huge global issue that's going to affect everyone, right? Who are the, China and the U.S. are two of the quote unquote superpowers. And we need to have these conversations about the issues of the day. So let's talk a little bit more about Fenix Insurance. I think you guys are hitting a milestone soon, right?
For sure. Thank you for asking. We have come up on our 5-year anniversary. I'm happy to report. Thank you very much. It's been such a cool experience to start my first business. And nonetheless, it's been with my family members. Sonia, who you highlighted earlier, my sister, she's one of my partners alongside my brother, Vic, as well as my father, Paul. What started from a dining table brainstorming session back of the napkin type deal has turned to a business in which we serve insurance clients across 11 states in the US. Our headquarters are in the town that we settled in when we moved to Atlanta, Alpharetta, Georgia, over 25 years ago. And our second location is here in Houston at ImpactHub. So I'm super proud of what we've accomplished and the clients and relationships that we've been able to establish. And we want to celebrate. We're having a celebration in Atlanta at our headquarters on October 1st. I would love to have our partners and people that are important to our organization present. Reach out to me if you're interested in attending. And then we're also planning a celebration in Houston at our Houston office that is still in the works. So keep an ear out for that, but we're shooting for the month of November.
Absolutely. I would love to celebrate with you. I love Atlanta personally. If I weren't already somewhere else that weekend, I'd fly to Atlanta and celebrate with you there. One of my favorite restaurants is in Atlanta. So
okay, you're gonna have to share. Which restaurant is that?
Poor Calvin's.
Oh yes, I think you mentioned this to me. I have not had the pleasure, but it's on my list.
Check it out. I know anytime anybody mentions Atlanta, I say Poor Calvin's. So I love it. It's absolutely great. So, well, congratulations on 5 years in business. That is definitely a milestone, because so often businesses do, kind of go under in the first 1 to 3 years, as the statistics show. And for you guys to have hit the 5-year milestone, that's amazing. And to work with your family, right? And that's even better. And to have this family business that you guys can probably hand down as a legacy to future generations. So, insurance is such a broad topic. And I know I've asked you this before. What kind of customers do you guys serve?
Sure. Good question. Insurance is an incredibly broad industry. It's a very much an established industry. We focus on property and casualty insurance. That's things that you think of when you hear a Geico commercial or a Progressive commercial. Think home, auto. We also we actually specialize in small and medium-sized business insurance. So think workers' compensation, commercial auto, business owners, policies. So that's our bread and butter, is working with individuals in small and medium-sized businesses with their property and liability or casualty insurance. However, we are a generalist agency, so we do offer life insurance policies as well as group health.
Awesome. And I just dropped the website address in the comments, but it's also up on the screen if you guys want to check out any of their services for yourselves, or I think you can get information as well as request a quote on your website too, right?
100%. You can request a quote. You can learn more about our agency. I'm happy to report we're a 5-star agency on Google, Yelp, Facebook. And we've been, really blessed to have great partners and agents that we've worked with. And I think it shows in the work product that we've been able to produce.
That's awesome. It's very awesome. And again, I'm very excited for you guys to hit this milestone. And because you are growing and you've hit this milestone, there's another need that you have at Fenix Insurance, and you've had this need for some time.
For sure. We are hiring at Fenix. We're looking for advisors that have a heart for the things that we want to do as an organization. Our 4 core values are education, security, sustainability, and the last one's a little different. It's Georgia. It's where we laid our roots. You do not have to be Georgian to join the organization, but we definitely have a heart for Georgia and everything that it's given to us. So if you're a purpose-driven individual, you're looking to serve clients as a professional in the insurance and risk management space, we'd love to have a conversation with you about both business development roles as well as customer service roles.
Awesome. And people would be able to find the job openings and whatnot on your website as well, right? At phoenixriskmanagement.com, and be able to submit an application or submit a resume via your website too.
The best way to communicate with us regarding openings is actually emailing us. I'll include my email at the bottom, as well as Paul, the CEO, his email address in the comments below.
Okay, great. I'll be sure to share that. Now, you have been an ImpactHub Houston member for how long?
Well, pretty much as long as I've come to Houston. So I'm going on 2 years, about a year and a half, I want to say.
That's awesome. And I am very fortunate to have met you guys recently, right? In the cohort, helping you with some marketing information and whatnot. And so I'd love to for you to share kind of just what are the biggest takeaways that you've gotten from the community at ImpactHub Houston. And we both know that Michelle and Grace are amazing already, but if you'd like to share just some ways that having them as mentors or having them leading us in this community has helped you, whether personally, professionally, would love to hear about it.
Sure. Thanks for asking. Well, as someone that's been turned on to the impact space relatively recently, within the past 5 or so years, when I made the move to Houston, I knew I wanted to find community in that space. ImpactHub Houston was one of the first things I saw. And even though we were in the middle of, or in the heart of the scare of COVID in early 2020 to mid 2020, ImpactHub Houston had already pivoted to online programming, and I was able to join in on programs from the comfort of my Atlanta apartment and start establishing community. And I think that speaks volumes about Grace and Michelle being adaptable, looking to form community with people that share this passion to make a dent in the space that they're working in, to look beyond profit in the organizations that they build and work with. And you only need to be a part of an event or two to get the vibe from Grace and Michelle. They're go-getters. They're looking to make a difference, and they want to help. And when I joined a couple events, I got that for sure, and it encouraged me. It definitely continued to help burn that fire in me to make a difference in the community. And I love to listen to them speak and talk about the events and programming and initiatives that they're working on. One example, as you mentioned, was being resourceful and providing the talents of the community that you offered, Anne, through the marketing boot camp that you offered. And that was very generous time and talents that you shared with us. And that's just only one example of some of the programming that they're offering right now. So it's been great to be a member. I'm excited to see as things continue to open back up, to see even bigger events and programming that we do in the future in the city of Houston.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for the in-person things too. And it was so great to see you in person. I think last time at the open project night, and actually like say hello and hug people, right? It's been wonderful to have that in-person connection again. And so Michelle says, the work that our members are doing is what makes us. Thank you for what you do, Simmy. Yeah. And yeah, those two are definitely phenomenal and inspirational. And if anyone tuning in who's not connected with Michelle or Grace yet, please, we highly recommend you connect with them and learn more about ImpactHub Houston, really, and the work that we are doing. And I am very grateful to just be a member and be involved, and really, just like yourself, learn more about purpose-driven ventures and social entrepreneurs and how to support them. And I think because for me, for a long time, I felt like there's got to be more to work, right, than just making money. There has to be some other purpose that I can serve, and being part of this community has really opened my eyes to that, and so I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of events, so what are some of your other favorite events that you've been to recently? I'm going to pop up the
Sure. Some of the events that I've been to, I know that ImpactHub Houston is taking on the Code for America Brigade in Houston. So I'm excited to see how that continues to grow and how that continues to build. We've got a lot of talent in Houston. Just going to a few of these events, you hear people with some really impressive backgrounds, but also with that heart to serve the community. So I'm excited to see what that turns into. There's a small plug for me in terms of community organizing. There's a program called Leadership Luncheon that I've been proud to start with, alongside with other really impressive professionals in Houston.
Awesome. Where can we find that information?
For sure. I'll drop a link in the website.
Awesome.
It's based out of Coffee House at West End. It's the largest coffee house in Houston. Beautiful space that's been renovated within the past 12 months. And we have roughly quarterly programming in which we offer an inspiring speaker that comes out. We offer a free lunch, and you're able to ask some really cool questions and hear some really interesting answers from these inspiring leaders. The first one that we had on was Shane Kimbrough, the now retired NASA astronaut.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
How cool. Yes.
And it was incredible to hear more about his story, even beyond NASA, but his incredible resume working, doing his service in the military, leading brigades at a very young age, and then working at the International Space Station. So that was our first. We're going to, it's a tough act to follow, but we have Phil Garner, the former manager of the Houston Astros. He's speaking on September 21st. And
wow.
So come with your Astros gear, ask some baseball questions. And then the second component of this program is the coaching piece, in which we offer complimentary coaching on demand, a la carte, from some really impressive professionals from Houston that just want to pay it forward. They recognize the importance of mentorship and coaching in their career, and they want to be able to do that for the next generation of Houston's leaders.
Oh, I love it. I love the whole concept of the program. Yes, definitely share the URL, and we'll share it out with folks. And for anyone who is interested in events at ImpactHub Houston, here's the URL, houston.impacthub.net/calendar. There are lots of things going on at any one time at the ImpactHub Houston community, some virtual, some in person. You will find pretty much just about anything that you need at this moment for your business or your social venture. And one of the things too that Simmy just mentioned was Code for Houston, the Code for Houston Brigade, right? So here's information on that as well, and helping us to prepare for the Houston Hackathon, which Michelle has shared, excuse me, the URL also, Houston Hackathon 2022.eventbrite.com. Again, if you will go to the ImpactHub Houston website, you'll find all of this information there. But these are definitely some great programs that we wanted to bring to everyone's attention, especially given what you've just shared today, right? Working together collaboratively to solve problems and issues here within our own city, within our own community, and hopefully making that impact even further globally as well. So let me grab that website address for your leadership luncheon. Talk about burying the lead. You should have started with that.
Yeah, I'm excited about the program, and would love to see some familiar faces in the audience.
Gosh, sounds like an amazing program. I wish I were in town on the 21st.
Mhm.
I would join you. So I will definitely pay attention and see what's upcoming, because I would love to see some of your speakers. It sounds amazing.
For
All
sure.
right, let me pull off some of these banners. Well, any kind of last thoughts that you would like to share with the audience or with the community, just in general? Anything you want to share with us?
Wow. Let's see. Um, I want to say first, thank you, Anne, for having me again on this program. It's been so good to get to know you through the marketing boot camp, through Impact Hub Houston. Good to give you a hug in person finally a couple of months
Yes.
ago.
Well,
Um,
I'm honored to have gotten to know you and meet you. You're definitely, one of the really cool people I've met in the community.
Thank you, thank you. Um, I would say, other than that, I would love, like I said before, I guess I'll reemphasize, I would love to do some collaboration. I have a little bit more bandwidth than I had in previous years. If something that I said today resonated with you, but it doesn't necessarily fit exactly the box that I'm talking about, I'm still all ears. I would love to make a dent in some important issues that we're working through as a society. So I'd love to hear what others are working on. Feel free to reach out to me via email or LinkedIn, and I'd love to chat.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today and helping our community to get to know you a little bit better, and kind of what you're up to, right? You've got some great programs and initiatives and things that you are working on and helping to really for the betterment of our world. And so we are thrilled to have you as part of the Impact Hub Houston community and as a member. And folks, stay tuned. Definitely check out an event. Come and Simmy is usually there at the events. Actually, I've run into you at a few of them. So be sure to come say hello to him if you come across him at an in-person event. Until the next episode of Impact Social, thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you're catching this on the video replay, feel free to drop a comment or a question as well. And we'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Anne.